Yes, I have a compulsion for following the rules, but I think I'm not gonna get hung for 1 minute early. Okay, so we have a motion to adopt the agenda, which is moved by Councillor McCray and seconded by Deputy Mayor McPherson. If you'd go ahead and read that, please.
Thank you kindly, Chair. Be it resolved that the Council of the Town of Perth adopt the agenda for the October 21st, 2025 council meeting as presented.
Thank you. Those in favor? Carried unanimously. I'll read the land acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge that the land on which we gather is the traditional home of various Indigenous people. As we work towards reconciliation, may we all live with respect on this land and live in peace and friendship with all its diverse peoples. Does anyone wish to declare a pecuniary interest? Seeing none, we'll proceed. The adoption of the minutes of September 23rd this year. Councillor Smith, seconded by Councillor Bird. If you could read that.
Be it resolved that the Council of the Town of Perth adopt the minutes of the September 23rd, 2025 regular council meeting.
Thank you. Those in favor? Unanimous again, thank you. No delegations, no presentations. The consent agenda, you've had a look at this. Does anyone wish to remove anything from consent for further discussion? Ed?
Item number 1, please.
Yep. So we'll have the motion read, then we'll excuse me, come back to this and we'll discuss the item you wish to discuss further. So Councillor Waterfield and seconded by Councillor Bolt.
Yes, Mayor Brown, that the following bylaws and motions listed below in the consent agenda be passed and numbered accordingly.
Okay, thank you. So if you'd like to elaborate. Okay, so I'll do that one. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm in favor of the motion, but I'd like to make an amendment to the motion. And change number 2 to direct staff to bring forward a report regarding the solar network meeting electrical proposal to a meeting in February of 2026.
Thank you. Gary?
Could you say that again, please, Ed?
It says number 2, direct staff bring forward a report regarding the solar networking metering electricity proposal to a subsequent meeting. I'm making an amendment to change that to a meeting in February of 2026.
Okay, thank you.
Gary?
Through the chair to the deputy mayor, could you explain why you're making that adjustment to the motion?
Council has said repeatedly this year that we will not add to the workload of staff members once the budget has been proposed. This is a major initiative. We're short on staffing, and this could be looked at in 2026 and dealt with at that time, even if we have to make an amendment to the budget at that time.
Thank you.
Okay. So, those in favor of that amendment, don't look at it. Could you please so signify?
Pardon me?
Those in favor of that amendment to change the date to February, could you so signify? Okay, that's unanimous. Okay, we'll now vote on the original motion as amended. Do we need a different mover and seconder for that? Okay, I needed a. Yes.
Point of clarification on that. The staff are going to bring a report regarding solar net metering proposal. Am I to understand that there's going to be a formal proposal for us to install, or will this be a for information only type of document?
Through the chair, it'll just be looking at the proposal that was presented by the delegation at the last meeting and saying, here's what it might look like, here's what the cost would be. Does council want to pursue that? So it won't be a proposal at that point to do something. It'll just be, here's where we could put it, here's what it would cost.
Okay. That's what was throwing me off, because I had asked specific questions about costing and so on, and they didn't have their ducks in a row. So, I mean, obviously.
Yeah, that would be the intent of the report.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I need a different mover and seconder for the motion to approve the
Yes, yes.
motion as amended. Yes, sir.
I'll second his motion.
Okay, thank you. Those in favor? Thank you. Okay. So we need another motion to approve the consent agenda with the exception of item 1. Okay, Councillor McCray and Councillor McCray, Councillor Waterfield. Those in favor? Thank you. So we are at number 11. Councillor Waterfield, seconded by Councillor McCray.
Be resolved that the Council of the Town of Perth has read the following bylaws a first, second, and third time short, passed and signed by the mayor and clerk. 1, bylaw number 5235, authorize the mayor and clerk to execute a multi-year agreement with Palmer and Associates for cleaning services. 2, bylaw number 4213-0, repeal agreement with Palmer and Associates for provision of cleaning services.
Okay. Any discussion? Those in favor? Carried unanimously. I'll proceed on to item number 12, staff reports, 12.1. We have Councillor Byrd read the motion, then we'll have discussion.
Thank you, Your Worship. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Smith. As recommended by the Committee of the Whole, be it resolved that the Council of the Town of Perth pass bylaw number 5236 to 1, authorise the submission of an application to the Ontario Infrastructure and Lands Corporation for the financing of certain ongoing capital works of the Corporation of the Town of Perth for the reconstruction of Craig Street. 2, authorise temporary borrowing from the Ontario Infrastructure and Lands Corporation to meet expenditures in connection with such capital works. And 3, authorise the long-term borrowing for such capital works through the issue of debentures to the Ontario Infrastructure and Lands Corporation, having been read a first, second, and third time short, passed and signed by the Mayor and Clerk, as presented in Report 2025 Council-12.1.
Thank you. Any discussion or question? Grant isn't here, but Michael advises that he's prepared to answer any questions. I'm sorry? Nev, would you like, well, let's wait and see if there's any specific questions, because you've said that you don't have a lot to elaborate on. So are there any specific questions?
Straightforward.
Okay. So those in favor of the motion? Thank you. Okay, so the next one is 12.2, salary grid and pay equity review. Deputy Mayor, would you read that motion, please? And we'll
Moved
come
by
back.
myself, second by Councillor McCray. As recommended by Committee of the Whole, be resolved, the Council of the Town of Perth, number 1, pass bylaw number 2025-4303-21, being a bylaw to amend the Human Resources Policy Manual to add the non-union salary grid, having been read a first, second, third time short, passed and signed by the Mayor and Clerk. Number 2, direct staff to implement the non-union salary grid retroactive to June 1st, 2025. Number 3, direct staff to continue discussions with OPSU Local 435 bring forth report to amend the collective agreement with a letter of understanding for the union salary grid and to implement the union salary grid retroactive to June 1st, 2025, as presented in report 2025, Council 12.2.
Thank you. Discussion or a question?
Are you going to make your amendment?
No? No.
I'd like to move an amendment
Yes, go ahead.
for items number 2 and number 3 to change the date to effective January 1st, 2025 from June 1st, 2020, or sorry, January 1st, 2026 from June 1st, 2025.
Okay, in discussions with Michael, he advises something that would indicate that, it will not impact on this year's budget. If you want to elaborate, please.
Just through the chair. So as noted in the report under the financial section, due to several staff vacancies this year, implementing it June 1st would not have a financial impact on the 2025 budget. It's still council's decision if you want to go January 1st instead, but just for information, there would be no impact on this year's budget due to those 2 vacancies.
Yes, sir.
And thanks for that. And I understand that, but I think it's clear for the public if we make it January 1st, 2026.
And Councillor Bolt?
Thank you, your worship. I do support Deputy Mayor's motion, can't talk tonight. And for the same reason, in fact, if I had my druthers, I'd rather see it come up when our collective bargaining agreement expires, so it could all be done at the same time. But I can live with January 1st, 2026.
Councillor McCray?
Through you, Chair, to the CAO. Would there be any implications if we went with June the 1st, 2025 from a staffing point of view? Or what might the implications be?
Sorry, if you went with June 1st?
Yes, June 1st, yeah.
Through the chair, I don't think there'd be any staffing implications. There'd be the financial implications that would be offset by the other savings, but I don't think there'd be any staffing implications related to that.
We're not worried about losing any staff in regards to this decision?
Between June 1st and January 1st, no. I
Okay.
think if it was delayed indefinitely or something along that lines, I think there could be other concerns, but between June 1st and January 1st, no.
Councillor Smith?
I'm sure that the union members would have some say in it because they're losing their income increase from June 1st to date, whenever that is. So I do not support it.
You don't support the amendment or the?
Sorry, I can't hear you.
I said you don't support the amendment? Is that what you meant?
That is correct.
Thank you. Anyone else? Deputy Mayor?
So just to clarify, they're not losing anything. They're not entitled to it. We're actually maybe perhaps implementing a higher wage rate for them, but as the collective agreement stands right now, they're not entitled to anything. So by moving this to January 1st doesn't change their wages at all. They're not entitled to this wage increase until it's negotiated by the town. So they're not suffering at all. They're actually going to gain by it one way or the other. So there's no loss to them.
So one thing we have to consider is that the study as it was presented to us also meets the requirement of pay equity, which we must maintain. The second thing is that if it goes back to June of this year, and employees know that it would have cost us nothing to go back 6 months, but we decided not to, I think that could have a negative effect on morale. Councillor Bird?
Thank you. Thank you, Your Worship. I'm struggling here because I'm not sure the questions that I want to ask, one specifically, are for this format, because it's in relation to our position, in relation to negotiations, and I think we're starting to move in discussion towards that. And I'm nervous about that because I think that is required to be in camera.
Any further discussion?
Your worship.
Yes, sir.
So so are we going to vote for the amended motion and then have a discussion on the general motion? Is that where we're going with this? Is that, because I have comments that I'd like to make, but I'm just trying to find out where we're going with this at this point.
We could do a motion to divide and vote on 2 and 3, and then have a discussion on the number 1, the report as a whole.
Well, I think first we just vote on the deputy mayor's motion to amend it to January 1st.
And if that's passed, then we'll vote on it as amended.
Mhm.
I'm okay with that. I just
All
want
right.
Are you okay
clarification.
seconding his motion?
I'm seconding
Or
his
as amended?
motion, yes.
Okay.
Sorry, and if I can just, I appreciate the mayor's support for staff and for staff morale, and Councillor Smith's comments as well. But I think the January 1st is a reasonable compromise, and that I think that's a prudent course of action. And at a staff level, I support the deputy mayor's amendment too. If that helps your voting.
Okay. So to be clear, the amendment is that the changes would have effect instead of on June 1st, 2025, on January 21st, 2026. Those in favor? Okay, thank you. Those opposed? Okay, it's carried 4-3.
I don't feel I've had the chance to ask the questions I wanted to ask. I've made it very clear why that is, and I'd be interested to see where discussion goes now.
That's fine.
Okay, so that was carried. So we go back to a discussion of the motion. And then discussion. Okay. So we vote on the motion as amended. Over.
Discussion on the, now that we've
And then
amended, we've
we'll-
already voted on it, correct?
So we've had a vote on the motion to amend the original motion,
Yes.
and now we'll be looking for a motion to put on the floor for a final motion incorporating that amendment. So the original motion with the amendment so it'd basically be the original motion, but the dates would be changed related to retroactive pay to January 1st, 2026.
So if, just for clarification, if it could through the mayor, discussion on the motion as amended then would be now, correct?
Sorry. You just need someone to put it on the floor, the entirety of that motion as amended.
All right, I'll make that motion.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
And now you can have discussion.
Deputy Mayor.
So through the chair,
Yeah, okay, sorry.
I'd like to make a comment, and I'd also like to start out by saying I'm not going to be voting for this motion as amended. And the reason for that is I've given it a lot of thought. And every day when I wake up, I see not a really good future for a lot of people in Canada and in the world in general, but Canadians' jobs are disappearing by the thousands with what's gone, pardon me, with what's gone on between Canada and the United States and the elbows down that's going on right now. Sorry if you feel that way, but that's the way I feel. I've got grave concerns about where the taxpayers of the town of Perth are going to be able to continue to pay the taxes that we're paying with jobs disappearing day by day. Our union, a rank and file, agreed to a 3-year term, a 3-year contract that comes up, I think, in June of next year. And I think we would all agree, although I'll speak for myself, that it was a fair and, generous offer. Now we're talking about raising the baseline salary or wage by over $100,000 a year. That's before we negotiate with the union the next time around. So while I can't speak to that, that will be then. My concern is, where will we go from there? I have more people saying, I don't know how much longer I can go with the rents the way they are, with the price of housing the way it is, with job insecurity. I think this is the wrong time to be giving a base salary increase. I don't know that this had to happen now. I think this is something that could have been put off, and I understand it's been in the budget a couple of times over the last couple of years. But I just think it sends the wrong message to the taxpayers. And my personal feeling is that we compensate our employees fairly. We're not at the top of the salary band. I get that. We're not at the bottom. There's a lot of people out there that are working for a lot less with much less benefits. So based on the proposal that was made by Mr. Pender, or the information that was gleaned from Mr. Pender's report, he's putting us at 51% of or 51% percentile, so basically halfway, midway. But in reading his report and rehashing it, I personally didn't feel that a lot of the comparators that he used to determine where we are in that grid were fair. He compared some jobs to towns that have double the number of people. He compared some of the comparators to jobs that have less responsibility, some to more responsibility. And I get it. It's a tough comparison to do. But I personally just don't feel that the timing is right on this. And I, for one, will not be supporting the motion to support what's being asked for. Thank you.
Anyone else wish to comment? Councillor Bird.
I'm going to ask my question, if I may, Your Worship, and I am quite prepared to be told this isn't the environment to ask this. Part of this phraseology that we've put out there now in the public format is in relation to pay equity.
Mm-hmm.
Does that leave us, if we move carry on with the motion as it is, with the change, right? Does it leave us in a position for grievance?
Please.
Through the chair, I think a January 1st start date still demonstrates the council recognizes the need or the legislative obligation for pay equity, and that you're taking action on it in a prudent amount of time. I think defeating the motion or suspending it indefinitely would open the town up to grievance or legal challenges, but because assuming that it's passed, if you recognize it and you're taking action in a prudent amount of time, I think that covers council in the town from a pay equity perspective.
Yeah, thank you. My concern, and it's kind of linked to Councillor Bolt's concern financially, is if we end up having to do this, but we get a grievance and we have to cover off the cost of dealing with a grievance as well, then we're moving further back than we already are. That was my concern.
Through the chair, that's a valid concern.
Deputy Mayor?
I don't think we've done a pay equity review or a salary grid review in, I don't know how long. It's been 10 years. Am I wrong or right? I don't remember seeing a member of council that we did one.
Through the chair, the last one I could find in my office was from the 90s.
Yeah, so I know past councils, we've always talked about making sure that we're paying our employees properly and that we're meeting the pay equity. And I personally think we've never actually met the mark that we're supposed to meet. And I've been through several of these in the last, well, not in 5 years because I've been retired 5 years, but prior to retiring. And this is just a normal process for organizations to make sure that we're paying our employees a fair wage. And I agree with Councillor Bolt. I had issues with some of the comparisons in camera because there's certainly municipalities that were twice as big, 3 times as big as ours. But at the end of the day, you have to look at the responsibility of the positions, and you have to look at the damages to the organization based on the financial responsibility of the person in that position. So I think the time has come, we're doing this, and I don't have any qualms that you have. I mean, no one was ever going to come forward with a challenge anyway, but I think we're being progressive to do this now.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councillor McRae.
Through you, Chair, I think that I just look back on the report that Joanna Bowes gave to us in terms of the development that's happening or is going to be happening in the next 2-3 years or so. And with that is going to be quite a substantial increase in population, services those people are going to require, and ultimately it's going to put more stress and more responsibility on the staff that we have. I agree wholeheartedly with our deputy mayor. I think we need to be ahead of the curve instead of behind it. And I think that it would be prudent to move forward with this in January the 1st of 2026.
Thank you. Councillor Bolt.
Thank you, Your Worship. I mean, I don't want to come across like I'm the Grinch that stole Christmas here. I do have a question for our CAO. Based on that report, do you recall where we were? I mean, he's proposing, I think is it a 51 percentile? 50 even. Where do we stand right now versus the comparators that, like, are we at 45 or are we at 49?
Through the chair, I'd have to look it up. It was depending on the position, which is one of the reasons the pay equity was such a key part of this, because some were way off and others were closer. It ranged from, I think, 35 to 55, with an average around 41, I think.
The reason why I'm asking that question is, you know, if I was Santa Claus, I'd give everybody in town a raise. I've been working for many, many years, and I'm not complaining here. I chose the job, but I haven't had a raise. Well, I had a very meager raise last year and no raise the year before that. It's a fact of life that we're all suffering. Doesn't matter how much money you make, we're all suffering through this inflationary time, and God knows what it's going to bring. My mindset right now is more about how can we operate the town of Perth as efficiently as we can. And if we agree to give our people a well-deserved pay equity raise, then so be it. But we got to find ways to cut money in other areas, guys. And at the end of the day, we're going to be looking at our next budget real soon. And so when you add $100,000 a year, roughly, to the baseline for salaries and benefits, something else has got to give. Like, our reserves are drying up. The need to address inefficiencies in our sewer and water system are getting worse and worse as the town ages. This is we're looking at a major concern that the councils going forward are going to have some real hard times unless we find other sources of revenues. Now, to Councillor McRae's point, and she makes a good point, that, you know, we're going to be going through some major increases in our population. And with that, more responsibilities for our staff. But with that, we're going to have more income coming in through taxation. So we should be able to afford to hire more people to handle all of that. So I don't see that as a major hurdle. And I'm not sitting here saying that our staff doesn't deserve a pay equity increase, alluding to the deputy mayor's comment that we haven't done one in years. I just feel that it's a serious concern at a time when we have to do even more belt tightening. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to comment before Councillor Butterfield?
Mayor Brown, I share Councillor Bolt's concerns and observations. They are very real. When we enter into planning our budget for 2026, we need to look at every line and every number. However, I do support the motion in terms of the equity increase. I think it's essential that we get this updated for the motivation and retention of our talented staff.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, those in favor of the motion? Okay, opposed? Yeah, one opposed. Thank you. So we'll head to committee board reports, county council. One thing that was interesting was we have a number of childcare facilities throughout the county, and each one of them keeps a waiting list. Very confusing for people looking to register their child, and so there will be a common waiting list, so it's easier to find out where there's space and where you are on the list. Hospital board, business as usual. One thing that's interesting is that Leonard County has been approved for 4 hospice spaces. It's fine, except there's no place to find a building to put it in. So what they have opted to do is hospice care at home. They've found out that with most seniors, the issue is not so much medical. It is the fact that they're lonely and they need to have people call on them. So these workers and volunteers go in and visit people in their home. Climate Change Advisory Panel has met for a while, either lack of items or lack of quorum. So Councillor Bird. The Heritage Perth Advisory Panel.
Yes, there was supposed to be a meeting on Monday that was postponed for lack of an agenda. I don't know if my colleague, Councillor Smith, has any update on anything else.
There's no update at all on it, but I have a question for the CAO. I'd just like to get an idea what's going on with the climate change. We haven't had a meeting now since the first quarter, maybe? I don't even remember how long.
Through the chair, yes, we met several times this year, I think as recently as June. Then we took the summer break. The chair resigned because he moved out of the area, had trouble getting quorum and having trouble getting people to volunteer to do any work, and it was falling back on staff. So I've been working with the vice chair on advancing their primary objective of getting the climate or the emissions inventory done. So that is underway. Looking at how to make the climate change committee effective and productive going forward, because I don't think the current structure or model is a good use of anyone's resources.
Good, thank you.
Okay, proceeding on to the Leonard County OPP board.
So the board held their monthly meeting last week. One of the items brought forward from the inspector was that the criminal court, the only criminal court now in Leonard County is at the Perth Courthouse on Drummond Street. There's no more criminal court in Smith Falls. It's been closed. So therefore, the workload at the Perth Courthouse is going to increase substantially. They have noticed there's been a large increase in the number of cases that require additional officers on scene to provide safety to the staff and to the public who are there. There was one particular case that required the emergency response team to actually be on site because of the type of case it was and the public reaction to it. Having said that, the inspector has let us know at the board that it's a requirement of the town of Perth to ensure there's adequate policing coverage in the courthouse while it's open. The full responsibility falls to the OPP to provide this policing, but the town of Perth must pay the full cost for policing of the courthouse. The recommendation currently is to hire 2 additional, Dave, you have to help me out here, special constables, and then a fully regular OPP constable to be stationed at the courthouse. The CEO can fill you in more on this one than I am, but the bottom line is we're going to have to pay additional monies for court policing this year, which no other municipality in the county helps us with. It's all on the town of Perth. So you're going to see that at budget time. It's going to be a significant implication for us. The second thing is he's going to provide the board with the stats for the town of Perth in the next couple of weeks, and I'll share those with the members of council. You can see that currently the way it's set up is we only receive stats on a county-wide basis, but we've all agreed that we'd like to see in our own municipality how calls are. He did provide us with an overview of the policing in the county, the type of calls they're dealing with right now, and Eastern Ontario OPP services is the fastest growing area in Ontario for calls for service. They're really busy. He gave us a couple examples of, for example, one call alone required 5 officers just on the one call. At the same time it was going on, another call required 3 officers in Lanark County at the same time, plus the dog team and a couple other specialized units. So he's trying to point out that even though they're doing this, they're still trying to provide the adequate level of policing, and he's maintaining that he has to right now. He has a specific response time now the OPP are being held to, and in Lanark County, they're below the required, the response time is basically 18 minutes, somewhere along that lines to respond to a call, and they get there faster than they have to according to the government. The other thing is I asked them, are we getting regular patrols in the town of Perth when they're not doing calls? And yes, we are. So people have said to me sometimes they're seeing a lot of OPP cruisers in town at one time, and some say they're not seeing many, but we do have regular OPP patrols in the town of Perth. The only time you won't see them is if they're responding to calls for service either somewhere else or perhaps in Perth. And I know last week I was riding my bike and I think 4 police cars respond to a call at the corner of Harriet Street and Gore Street. So we get a really good police response in the town of Perth. So I'll keep you advised about where we're going with court security, but I'm sure between the CEO and our Director of Finance, that's going to be a fun topic for us at budget time.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Through you, Mayor Brown, to the Deputy Mayor. Has there been any talk about the fact that as the population of Lanark County increases, which it is, that we can anticipate more and more calls for service, which will have implications on future costing to municipalities?
I think, Michael, you'll have to help me out, or Nev. The costing is based on the number of homes, correct? I can tell you that every meeting I go to with policing, either Lanark County or the Zone 2 board, which incorporates everybody in this entire region from the Quebec border here, is everybody's looking for additional police resources. Like I said, the call volume in East Ontario was skyrocketing for them, but I don't know exactly what the new model is.
Yeah, through the chair, and maybe Nev knows as well, but I think there's a component where it's primarily the population, but I think there is a component that the calls for service impacted as well.
Thank you.
But as the Deputy Mayor said, the demands for service, I met with the local detachment commander in advance of the discussion on the court security, and like Ed said, the calls for service just keep skyrocketing, and the severity of the types of calls are increasing, requiring additional resources that at the time, and then the duration of servicing that it just continues to increase.
good question. Leonard County Climate Action Working Group, Councillor McCray.
Your worship, I have nothing to report. There hasn't been a meeting
Right.
for some time in that area.
Yes, you're right. Okay, but the BIA.
I have lots to report for the BIA. I spent Saturday and Sunday promoting Perth at the National Women's Show on behalf of the BIA and a committee of 3 other volunteers at the EY Center located at Upland Drive, Ottawa. It was nonstop. We never had a chance to sit down hardly. There was over 20,000 people there, and we spent the day distributing flyers, cards, promoting Perth and our upcoming event, the BIA event, Once Upon a Christmas on November the 22nd, 2025. This evening, while we are here at this meeting, the BIA is at a strategic planning meeting. And so that's happening at this point in time, and they're have moved from a governance, they are moving to a governance model with an operational component represented by 4 committees. And I think that is going to be much more effective. Nancy Wing is now under Kathy McNally's supervision with guidance and direction from the BIA board and our chair. She works 4 days a week. And this was imperative that she be supervised out of this facility as it was becoming very problematic. So many of the businesses and the volunteers that sit on the BIA, their businesses are growing. Kelly's Flower is just an example, and Michael's Table, where there have been all kinds of renovations and developments happening. And these are the people that sit on the board. They do not have the time to be doing the day-to-day supervision. So that's pretty well it for the BIA. Now, if I could move, can I go ahead with the Chamber of Commerce? Just to remind everyone that the soiree, the 2025 Business Achievement Awards are this Thursday evening, October the 23rd. A great event for networking, refreshments, live music, followed by what they call the Red Carpet Awards. This will be happening first at the Crystal Palace, and then the actual formal awards will be at the theater. And there are a number of different awards they're giving out, Business of the Year and many others. And I just wanted to make mention of one other event that will be coming up. And I'm mentioning this not because it's reflective of the BIA or it's reflective of the Chamber. It's reflective of our own community. It's called Make Ways for Hospice. And I'm sitting on this committee. And the reason I'm bringing this to everyone's attention, it will help to not just elevate hospice, but our aquatic facility here in Perth. And all of our staff that work so hard in our pool. It's going to be from January the 5th to March the 3rd at 13 weeks in total. It's Swimming the Tay. It's 95 kilometers or 38,000 lengths of the pool. And I can just see that Ed McPherson, our deputy mayor, is in such great shape. We'll sign him up to swim a few lengths. Anyway, and I'm just teasing you. Anyway, it kicks off January the 5th at 1 o'clock at the pool. And sure would be nice to see all the counselors there to back our great aquatic staff and our facility.
Thank you. Yes, Councillor Waterfield.
Mayor Brown, just a comment. I very much would like to attend the Chamber's Business Awards this Thursday evening. However, I'm chairing a board meeting at the RBCA, so can't be at 2 places at once, but I'm sure it'll be a wonderful evening. Thank you.
I will be there so you can rest easy.
Mhm.
And you have a library board report?
Yes, Mayor Brown. On September the 24th, I attended the Indigenous Advisory Circle meeting for the library. The primary discussion during that time was preparation for Orange Shirt Day on September 30th, which has since passed, but was a very successful event, which I attended in Lasdule Park. On October 20th, just yesterday, I attended a board meeting of the library. What we discussed was the results of the Community Needs Assessment Report, which will be distributed to all municipal councils contributing to the library. So we as a council should be receiving that shortly. Would you like me to touch base on my other committee reports?
Yes, please.
With regards to the RBCA, on September the 25th, I chaired a board information session in the afternoon. Later on that evening, I chaired a board meeting. During that meeting, primarily updating some fee policies, renewing some contracts, looking at our 2026 meeting schedule. I note that on September the 25th, that was the evening of the meeting that Toby Shannon chaired at the Legion concerning the college, and I would have liked to have been there, but again, can't be two places at once. On September the 29th at the RBCA, I chaired a committee meeting, and at that time, after quite a long discussion, we developed a reserve strategy for the organization, which we are bringing to the board later on this week. On October the 8th, I attended the Traffic Advisory Working Group for the county. Not surprisingly, there was a long discussion on the automated speed enforcement project that we've been working on. The provincial house went back into session this week, and it's my understanding that once it receives royal consent, that there will be no automated speed enforcement devices within the province. Also, at that time during the meeting, we also did a preliminary review of the county speed management policy, which has been in place for some time, and we'll be going back to that in subsequent meetings. That's my report, Mayor Brown.
Thank you. This question, by automated speed management, do they mean cameras?
Yeah, speed cameras.
Oh, okay, thank you. So can you, Councillor Bolt, there's a motion. Number 13.
Yes, moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Gary Waterfield. Be it resolved, the Council of the Town of Perth receive the council, committee, local boards, and external reports and minutes as presented.
Thank you. Those in favor? Okay. There's no new business. Are there any questions from the media? I don't see any media in attendance. Next meeting date is Tuesday, November 25th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. And that's a council meeting. I'll be chairing that. And we have no closed session. So we have 19.1, the confirmation of proceedings. Councillor Bolt again. 19.1.
Well, we didn't have a rise and report request. Correct?
That's only if we had an in-camera.
That was only if
session.
we had an in-camera.
So next one.
Oh, 19, I'm sorry. Oh, all right. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Isabel Ann McCray, that bylaw number 5237 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings in the Council of the Town of Perth on October 21st, 2025 be read a first, second, and third time short, passed and signed by the mayor and clerk.
Thank you. Those in favor? Unanimous. And the motion for adjournment, Deputy Mayor.
Moved by myself, sent by Councillor Smith, be it resolved, the Council of Town of Perth adjourned the October 21st, 2025 council meeting at 6:22.
17.
That's right. Okay, well, my watch is 6:22. 6:19, 6:22 p.m.
Let's stay for another 5 minutes. Those in favor of that motion?